Pull my heart out of my chest, train my mind so I forget. Sink your teeth into my bones, dig me out, then fill the hole. Tear me apart, and watch it burn. Tear me apart, and watch it burn. All that's left is a window to my soul. Come and get it. Mouth to mouth, I breathe you in. Swallow down your jagged sin. Let it drown inside my veins. The sweetest poison I could take. You make it an art, the way that you scar with every word. But before we reach the end, strip me down again. Come and get it one more time. Oh, if you wanna lose your mind. Oh, come and get it one more time. Oh, if you wanna lose your mind. Oh, come and get it. Come and get it. of my chest, train my mind so I forget. Sink your teeth into my bones, dig me out, then fill the hole. Tear me apart, and watch it burn. Tear me apart, and watch it burn. All that's left is a window to my soul. Come and get it. Mouth to mouth, I breathe you in. Swallow down your jagged sin. Let it drown inside my veins. The sweetest poison I could take. You make it an
Hello everybody! How's everyone doing tonight? So, tonight we have Team Rainbow Strike Go versus Team Better Than Bots. Also, thank you Alto420 for for following, and welcome to the community. Glad to have you in the chat. So, before we get into anything crazy, let's quickly go over the map picks. So, Team Rainbow Strike Go is our home team, and chose Tails for the coin flip, and lost said coin flip, leading to Better Than Bots choosing first pick. Team Rainbow Strike Go then bans out Sky Temple and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Better Than Bots bans out Infernal Shrines, as well as Braxis Holdouts, leading to Team Rainbow Strike Go to say, I hate you, at some point during the map picks, I forget when, but they wanted me to make sure that that was stated for the record, and then they chose to pick up Cursed Hollow for game number 1. Going back to the draft here, we do have Phoenix and Malthael both being banned out by Better Than Bots, as well as Johanna. And we don't know the second ban yet, coming out for Team Rainbow Strike Go. Hatsuroe seems to be having issues with my music. I like my music. I might change the music for the intro just for some longevity, but we'll see. Either way, welcome everyone to the cast. And we do see the Deathwing ban. He did become legal as of Monday this week, so that was yesterday, and a lot of people fearing him. A lot of people fearing him. We do see Blaze being picked up pretty solid pick for Cursed Hollow. He does have a lot of territory control and is really able to punish those choke points throughout the area heading to the objective. Ariel being picked up very early for the left team, as well as the Haka for that global pressure. Ariel is a very solid healer at this stage in the game, and with the Resurrect buffs, I'm wondering whether this is a Resurrect Ari, or if this is a Crystal Aegis Ari. We'll likely have to see what the enemy team picks up. With a Li Ming, we're likely to see Crystal Aegis, to be fair. But yeah, pick up Li... Better Than Bots picks up Li Ming, trying to get those resets, as well as Sonya, so this is a main tank Blaze. Man, I love that elevator music. I don't think it's elevator music, unless you're referring to the jazz that Huff's Throwaway is talking about. Both sides seem to really enjoy jazz. Welcome, Grizzly Peeps, to the community. Thank you for the follow. We do see the Alex ban coming out. This is a solid Alex map, as like I said, there are a lot of choke points, which she is able to just throw those flame buffets in over and over again. Not to mention the Dragon Queen does secure every other objective, and usually the ult can secure the one that the Dragon Queen does not after 10, which they're pretty much guaranteed to get 10 before the first curse if there's an Alex in play. We do see the Arthas ban coming out from the right side, not wishing to have the enemy team stick to them all game. Arthas is a little weak right now, to be fair. However, if they're trying to pick up someone with a lot of mobility or a lot of auto attack focus, that's very fair, as it's a solid way to punish those sorts of melee auto attackers like a Greymane. Thank you, the true Hylian92, for the follow, and welcome to the community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We also see the ETC and Kira picked up for the left side. We normally see Kira in the off lane, but it seems like they want to use her more as a damage, and now we're seeing why they didn't want the Arthas. Lunara can have a hard time dealing with Arthas if he can get on, if he can get on. We also see the Anduin for the pulls, which is very useful considering they do have a Dahaka. That Dahaka tongue can lead to a significant number of issues if used well, especially on someone like Lunara or Li Ming. We also see Chromie being picked up for the left side, most likely with those slowing sands to help punish the choke points on this map, as well as provide a lot of zone control. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. This is a very interesting game, to say the least. Like I said, it's very unusual to see a Kira as a damage slot. Normally we see her as an off lane. To be fair, this is a map where you tend to have double off lane. So we'll definitely have to see how it goes. Meanwhile, we have a lot of cheering going on in the chat right now. Lots of very loud cheering. Let's throw away a obligatory poll in chat. I actually have a poll if you scroll down just a little bit, which should be able to be pulled on. It should work, is what I'm trying to say. It should just be just below the video. Or live stream, rather, I suppose. Either way, we're just waiting for these teams to load in. My computer seems to not be enjoying this right now, to be perfectly honest. And that's why. Give me a moment to fix this. There we go. That should fix this. It's not a smart move to have your stream preview running several times, which I didn't think I was, but apparently I was. And I seem to still be having issues, but we'll see. Hey, Zoltos, welcome to the stream! Dave, you don't see the poll? There should be a poll down below. Yeah, there you go. Hot Throwaway will help you out. Everyone seems to be having a hard time loading in today. Not just me. So, it doesn't seem like it's my issue. Seems like it is a Blizzard issue. But either way, everyone loaded in.
Prepare yourself for battle.
And we have a game to cast. Let me just open that stuff up and then introduce our teams. So we have Robert on ETC, Kingleberry on Kira, Howling Knight on Ariel, Killer Fry on Dahaka, and Silver on Chromie. And that is Team Rainbow Strike Go. Meanwhile, for the right side, we have Better Than Bots with Grizzly Pear on Li Ming. Evil... So hard to read that text with Lunara's bouncing. But Evil Toe on Lunara. Megan on Sonya. Crafty Trent on Blaze. And Dynamite on Anduin. Meanwhile, the Sonya does go down in the very laggy mid-fight. But it looks like we're good to go now. Blizzard Spaghetti Code? Yeah, Blizzard Spaghetti Code for life. You know what? The banners are stacked instead of having them in a grid. Plenty of space. But Twitch's UI gets funky. Okay, okay. Unfortunately, I don't know how to fix that, but it doesn't sound like it's my issue, so we're good. What is the delay on the game? The game is 40-second delay, 10 seconds above the NGS requirement. Now, you may have noticed I coming up here. That's because this Dahaka is getting bullied out hard by Lunara, which is exactly what we'd expect to see with a melee bruiser against Lunara. This is a very difficult matchup. Meanwhile, we do see both teams going for camps. Sonya gathering their siege, and Team Rainbow Strike Go, rather, picking up their bruiser. Likely going to try and pick up their siege just before the objective comes up, so that will be pushing. A lot of this early game tactics does add up, especially on Cursed Hollow. It being such a large map leaves a lot of opportunities for macro play. Speaking of macro play, the enemy team does have a Sonya, so if you are on Team Rainbow Strike Go, you need to be very aware of the fact that she can pretty much solo any camp on this map. I say as she's having a really hard time against this bruiser. To be fair, she did go into it with very little health, but she's going to be, and should be able to finish that before the objective. Meanwhile, this siege is going to get free cleared, as is this bruiser. Bruiser does get a little bit of value while ETC is protecting it, and the objective is announced, with Kira picking up the siege just as predicted. Now, we should see Dahaka staying in this lane for a little while longer, trying to get an XP advantage, as well as increase the value of this camp. I'm guessing he's going to burrow into one of these two bushes once the fight gets underway. This Wisp. Did she go Sentinel Wisp? She did go Sentinel Wisp, which means that Wisp just has extraordinary amounts of vision if it just sits in a bush for 5 seconds, which is not hard to do. Does look like Dahaka is walking either to mid lane or down here. meaning that the right team still has advantage in this fight, but that Bruiser is getting free cleared. Here comes the Dahaka, trying to come straight in, burrowing in the enemy team. Meanwhile, ETC does try and set up a kill with the stun, but the pool does manage to save the very low health Blaze. Both sides losing a bit of health here, but both sides getting more than enough healing than they need. Blaze just poking with a bit more aggression. This is a very long first objective fight, as ETC is unable to keep himself sustained throughout its entirety. Blaze does engage, getting a massive stun off Ariel, losing a lot of energy just by the sheer fact that she was stunned while a lot of damage was coming out. We do see, in general, Team Rainbow Strike Go being a little lower, and you have to be very aware of the spread damage with the Li Ming, with the soft synergy between Li Ming and Lunara. We do see the Sonya going down in the lane down here, just trying to alleviate some of the pressure. Keep in mind, though, the longer this fight goes on, the more value this camp gets, as it has already gotten a front wall and is now on the fort. Lunara desperately trying to race up there to deal with it. His fort will probably fall to about a quarter health because of how long the fight went, but it might not. No. Roughly. Sonya yet again picking up this siege to try and get a little bit of XP as well as a little bit of pressure. This is interesting. We don't normally see the Dahaka in the mid lane, as he normally goes to the lane far away from the objective to try and benefit from that global. But we'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see. Frankly, the spreads of these teams are a little unusual. It's very, very rare to see a Ariel all by her lonesome, especially trying to rotate in through here all by her lonesome. It's really easy for her to be picked off. As you saw, she was sitting in this bush waiting for people to show themselves, as well as trying to pick up this XP most likely. Now blue team does get here first, trying to get the early aggression against this enemy team. Big tongue goes out on the Sonya, who just spins to win, getting out of the fight. Chromie does try and get the channel. I think she was poked out of it. Yeah, she's getting poked out of it and unable to get the channel, trying to use the slowing sands for a bit of zoning. Meanwhile, her team is zoning out the entire enemy team except for the Blaze, who is pushing onto the objective. Why is the red team orange? Because I play in colorblind mode. It is just easier for me to see stuff, frankly. Speaking of seeing stuff, the enemy team unable to see the Chromie picking up that objective, and even if they could, unable to get there as Lunara deals with balancing out this top wave. Now this is an interesting tactic, as they do now have the 10 advantage, but they won't for this next objective. But this is a front wall in the top lane. Now keep in mind, this front wall is more valuable than this front wall due to the boss. Again, the split's kind of curious here, but it does make sense with this camp being picked up. They do want this pushing during the objective, as the siege is not going to get as much value pushing during the objective. This time the right team is positioning early for this objective, trying to prevent the setup. You really can't let a Chromie get there first. Letting her set up those slowing sands, due to the fact that the longer they're there, the slow increases more, is definitely something you need to worry about. And speaking of things to worry about, it is important to note the fact that Chromie is 2 talent tiers ahead of everyone else in this game, which means 11s are actually beneficial for the left team, whereas they are not for the right team. But that doesn't seem to matter, as the Combustion and Light Bomb go out, immediately blowing up the ETC, followed very quickly by the Dahaka, and lots of damage does come out, leading to the Kira's death as well, securing the objective firmly in the grasp of the right team. Those Li Ming resets coming very much in handy. Though we do see this camp does get value. It does look like it will finish this front wall before it is clear. And very quickly going over the ultimates, as I'm sure you see these little spirits that Ariel has. That is due to her resurrect, which I wasn't sure. kind of thought we'd see a Crystal Aegis, but Resurrect is very powerful right now. Speaking of very powerful, this boss will be pushing during this next objective, meaning that it will be 2-2, most likely, or a fort down for the blue team. Either way, continuing through the ultimates, we do see Mosh Pit for the ETC, Isolation for the Tahaka, Final Strike for the Kira, Slowing Sands as already mentioned for the Chromie, and a boss play for the right team, which is sniffed out by Team Rainbow Strike Go, but I seriously doubt it will be able to be answered. Lunar does use the leap to dodge the sweeping strikes? Not sweeping strikes. The spinny thing from the Kira. Meanwhile, the Mosh does go out, unable to interrupt the Blaze combustion. Sonya does go out, Blaze losing a lot of health, but is pulled. Now this boss is still pushing now onto Keep. But Team Rainbow Strike Go saying, you can have our Keep wall. We're not letting you have this objective. But they also have to give up a fort for this, as this is a very beefy wave and a boss pushing on to fort. However, that wave will be blown up. This boss still needs to be dealt with. And this camp gonna get a lot of value during this curse. This puts the right team in a favorable and awkward position at the same time, which is rare, as is taking a fort from the right side. I was actually not quite catching the fact that this was Team Rainbow Strike Go behind Better Than Bots' fort. While this curse is going on and everyone is just kind of defending it, we did see the combustion multiple times from the Blaze, as well as leaping strikes. And an extra leap from the Sonya. We also see the Light Bomb, lots of synergy with the leap from the Sonya. And we do see Disintegrate from the Li Ming, as everyone's just trying to hold them in place. That should get a fair amount of value. Speaking of value, because of that boss pushing, only 2 forts, one of which was already basically dead before this objective, do go down from this curse. Not a whole lot of value. Sonya does take a lot of damage. Kira getting pulled straight into the Keep Blaze, attempting to stun her out of her swipe. Lots of damage does go out, as well as the Slowing Sands to try and stop the combustion. Combustion does go out, leading to the ETC losing a lot of health, desperately trying to be healed up by the Ariel, who also goes down. Kira gets revived inside the enemy team, already about half health. She was rezzed with full health and full mana. Final Strikes interrupted, and she goes down yet again, giving 3 kills over to the enemy team. That's a fair amount of XP, as well as it only is 2 heroes down, to be fair. However, that is still more pressure than you'd probably like to have if you are Team Rainbow Strike Go, as you are unable to take advantage of all of this map pressure. It's just going to be answered for free. This camp is going to push, deal with the catapults. Very uncomfortable position is not really the best way of saying it, as it's not really uncomfortable, but not favorable, which it really should have been a favorable position. That objective really not getting as much value as you normally see from an objective on Cursed Hollow. And with a 16 advantage on the right side, this might lead to a very uncomfortable game in the semi-near future for Team Rainbow Strike Go. Both sides do have plenty of time to take advantage of the other one's positions, however. But we'll have to see. Speaking of seeing, it does seem like we will see structure advantage onto the side of Better Than Bots as they take this mid-fort relatively uncontested. This means all 3 forts are down for the side that hasn't yet gotten a curse. This is very rare. It's very rare, but also very helpful for the side of Better Than Bots. To be fair, they did pick up a double boss. However, with a 16 advantage, does look like this objective is going to be free. And Just Key, welcome to the community, and thank you for the follow. I hope to see you on future casts. Like I said, this is a free curse pickup, and potentially another boss for Better Than Bots. It doesn't look like they want to take that risk, though. Trying to save Blaze from the single-person mosh, being done very successfully with the light bomb and the combustion, leading to a triple kill. Li Ming getting all of those resets. Ariel is getting locked down by the Blaze, big slow and lots of damage, leading to Ariel's death as well. Resurrect is up, so she will be able to res herself if she so wishes. But it would be kind of, shall we say, not wise to do it until she has vision on her own corpse. But it doesn't look like she wants to res herself, just coming up naturally in time for the next objective, which she should be able to. But this is a boss play for Better Than Bots, increasing the macro advantage that they already have, as well as likely securing a free curse for them. However, if this boss is pushing through curse, this is a really, really uncomfortable and possibly game-ending scenario for the team of Rainbow Strike Go, and they have to answer it, or it will be a very brutal end to an initially very favorable game. However, Better Than Bots saying, you deal with that boss, you pick up the curse, we are going to pick up your boss, and there's nothing you can do about it, as we already have two very heavy conditions on the board that you need to answer. Now, I'm going to hop over to the deaths and stats for just a moment so that you all can be aware of who is dealing top damage and such. We'll stay there for a little bit. Well, not much is going on. Team Rainbow Strike Go answering one boss. Second boss pushing with a team almost guarantees a keep.
Gather tribute.
Now let's hop over to, that's the wrong one, XP, where we actually see Lunar out XPing a Dahaka, which is very rare to say the least. We do see a lot of aggression coming out from both sides. Only one side has a boss to back up. Dahaka losing a lot of health, already using that burrow. Unfortunately, the Lunara is stacked with poison, getting a taste of her own medicine, but ETC does drop very quickly. Ariel attempting to use the energy to keep everybody healthy, and it does look like this boss will be cleared up. Resurrect does come out on the ETC, but the 20 advantage, this will be a free curse for Better Than Bots, as well as a huge amount of pushing potential. Because again, 20 advantage. If you're Rainbow Strike Go, you have to deal with this push, but at the same time, you have to not deal with this push. There's a really uncomfortable position, and I'm very curious how they are going to handle this. Meanwhile, Better Than Bots, unsure if they're going to be able to take the core, decide to burn the keep, trying to secure what they can. Meanwhile, Blaze does lose a lot of health using the shield. Big three-person mosh, four-person mosh rather, does almost secure a kill, however not able to stay healthy enough to keep it going, and the Sonya, the only person not caught in it, did jump in there, it looked like, locking him down with the crater, that's the term. And we do see the GG's called, as this is an end to game number 1, going in favor of Better Than Bots. Quadruple boss play? I don't know any map that's possible, but this is the closest I've ever seen it come, as the boss was not up very long before it was another boss play. It is interesting. We'll definitely see how the games continue. Let me just contact Team Rainbow Strike Go. First pick or map pick. GG, well played indeed. Now I will very quickly check on the poll, which is 3-1 for Better Than Bots. Got a lot of Better Than Bots fans in here. And so far, it does look favorable for Better Than Bots. Now, I am curious, what do you guys think secured that victory for Better Than Bots? Because they had a really difficult early game, but that late game and a little bit of the mid game, they were able to get a serious advantage and really take advantage of it. I'm curious if you guys think it was the bosses? Because I'm actually not sure about the double boss play. I mean, it worked, but I'm still not entirely sure about it. Either way, it was a very nice game. Lots of back and forth. Both sides had their advantage, and both sides tried to take advantage of it to the best of their ability. I thought it was really interesting how I got completely confused which team was which, because Team Rainbow Strike Go took a fort from the opposite side of the fort. Either way, interesting game. I kind of want this to be a series of 3, but that being as close as it was, I think it could be a series of 3 very easily. If Hatsuroe, if you were the only vote for Team Rainbow Strike Go, that would mean that the votes are 100% in favor of Better Than Bots. Looks like we have a map picked. So give me just a moment to set up this lobby. Tournament draft, no match history. Team 1. And lobby link. Rainbow Strike Go. Whoops. That did not work how I thought it would. Welcome, Crafty Trent, to you're the other team's captain. You're not going to hear this until after the fact, but still, welcome to the community and thank you for the follow. Megan420, I thought I already saw a follow from you, but thank you very much for the follow and welcome to the community as well. Strike Go. Here. Waiting. One of you. A swap team. Alright, never mind, we're waiting for 2 of you. I don't know who better bots are, but it seems like you really, really want them to be voted for. Sorry, that's cool. I'm assuming you're meaning BTB. We're waiting on one more of Better Than Bots. And then we'll be good to go. So I'm very curious what we'll see here. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be interesting nonetheless. Alright, we got one team R. And it looks like both teams are. So here we go. On to game number 2. Hello everybody, and welcome to game number 2 in our series of 3 with Rainbow Team Strike Go. For a second I thought I said it wrong. Versus Better Than Bots. If you're wondering how we got here, let me take care of that. So, we had, Better Than Bots won the coin flip, leading to Team Rainbow Strike Go, banning out Doom of the Spider Queen as well as Sky Temple. Meanwhile, Better Than Bots decided that they didn't want Praxis Holdout or Infernal Shrines, leading to Team Rainbow Strike Go to pick Cursed Hollow, which Better Than Bots did win. Meanwhile, Team Rainbow Strike Go then decided that they wanted first pick, leading to Better Than Bots saying, alright, let's go to Towers of Doom then, and deal with the shrines. Not shrines, bell towers. Either way, we do have a draft. We do see the Blaze ban coming out from Team Rainbow Strike Go, as well as another Malthael ban from Better Than Bots. Malthael is very solid on this map for the double soak. We also see a Stukov ban. Both zoning heroes, which is very interesting. There's not a huge amount of choke points, but to be fair, the Blaze did cause a lot of issues for the other team. And there's the Deathwing ban. And I'm guessing we'll see a lot of Deathwing bans for quite a while, as is pretty standard for new heroes. Those are legit intros, dude. I didn't make them. They're made by the NGS people. I'm trying to remember exactly who makes them, but they are solid. They are very, very solid. Meanwhile, going back to the draft, we do see the Johanna being picked up first pick. Probably the most common first pick for Divsy, as I've said multiple times. And we do see a leaving Ariel on the right side, not wanting to give over Ariel to the enemy team. And they say, alright, fine, we'll just go with Anduin. Which is also solid. Both solid heroes right now. I wonder if we'll see another res game. Now that there's no resets for the enemy team, we might see that get more value. We also see Leo coming out, a really solid pick for this map. To Calculated Throw just played against D1. I don't know who D1 is offhand. I don't remember who that is. I just got Shrek'd. Well, I'll have to watch the replay. Sounds like it was an interesting game. Which does remind me, thank you for spending your time here. I know that there's a lot of casts going on right now, as all of the games are within half an hour of each other. Not sure how that happened, but hey, either way, thank you for spending your time on this cast. Going back to the draft, we do see the Phoenix being banned out from the right side yet again. I'm very curious what we see as the third ban for Team Rainbow Strike Go. We see Mal'Ganis removing yet another tank. A really solid tank too, especially with a solid mage like Li Ming. I'm assuming that they saw the Lunara coming up, which is very fair. And Sonya coming up for Better Than Bots yet again. She did have a hard time surviving in the previous game, but we might see something different here. Oh, DW. Gotcha. We see Zeratul. It's been a while since I've seen a Zeratul game. We'll have to see how that works out for him. I wonder if this is VP or Nerazim. Both would be solid. Both would be very solid in this scenario. I don't know, if I was a Zeratul player, I'd have a hard time picking. Because you have the BP into the Entomb, into Vala Stun, you have all sorts of stuff. However, Arthas is going to make Zeratul's life a little difficult, as he's going to have a hard time getting those autos through. Neither side having a too beefy front line. More so Rainbow Strike Go. But, I don't know, that back line is going to have a lot of issues on the side of better than bots. But I don't know. We'll have to see. It's really hard to predict based on a draft alone. Either way, I'm optimistic that this will be an interesting game. While we're loading, I actually kind of want to check the poll, see if anything has changed. Fortunately, that means we have to lose the hype music, but it doesn't look like anything changed. So we'll just chill here for now, just for ease of access. But we've got a game and a choo-choo train. I heard a choo-choo train. Zeratul has the train. We've gotta see them use it, right? Right? Yes, that's some of them. Have they figured out how to use it yet? Yes! They're figuring it out! This is awesome! I know I should be introducing the teams, but I don't want to.
The battle begins.
It's a choo-choo train! Sorry. So we see Killer Fry on Leoric, Kingleberry on Zeratul, Silver on Vala, Robert on Johanna. And I don't think I missed anyone, but I'm hoping I didn't. The choo-choo train's distracting me. Meanwhile, for the side of Better Than Bots, we see Grizzly Pear on Li Ming, Crafty Trent on Arthas, Evil Toe on Lunare yet again, and Megan on the Sonya. The choo-choo train has separated, but they're still celebrating. They're still having a good time. This is awesome. I'm having a grand old time. This is fantastic. Why am I enjoying this so much? I can't think about anything. We do see the auto tech build coming out from the Arthas. Aside from that, oh, Fatality Until Death. It's rare. I don't usually see Fatality Until Death. But hey, we'll have to see. And Bold Strategy for Anduin. Aside from that, yeah, it doesn't look like anything too unusual. Zeratul is just kind of harassing at this point. He has a hard time doing much until 7. Trains equal wins. Yes! Absolutely! That is the good luck charm for Team Rainbow Strike Go. It has to be. Love that train. Love that train so much. I don't know why, but the train is the best mount. I'm getting so distracted. We do see both teams picking up their camps. We might see an invade from the left side, but I doubt it, as they're having their own issues to deal with, and they are trying to get this Sonya gank, which they do get. Yet another F for the Sonya. Arthas does try and come down for the soak, but he's just losing a lot of health trying to stand in that front line. He does have a bit of issues until 4 if he goes for the armor. And if he doesn't, then he has issues till 10 unless he goes Army of the Dead. Other than that, he just has issues. But it does look like neither of these camps will get value, as both teams just free clearing it very quickly. Excuse me. We do see, looks like a Lunara gank. Unsuccessful Lunara gank in the top lane. Yeah, she tapped. She's fine. We do see the altars coming up in the next 20 seconds, as Zeratul is killed. I'm not sure how that happened, but it does look like the Arthas was able to lock him down, which is a very big risk if you are a Zeratul player. Speaking of risk, there is no competition for this bottom. This puts both teams in contest for this altar right here. And if right team gets it, they get 2 shrines. Vala did lose a lot of health, which does mean 2 shrines go over in favor of better than bots. Meanwhile, we do see Li Ming poking at the bottom, and a lot of aggressions coming out on this Arthas mid, who is just not having a great day. Oh, no, I was wrong. The armor is at 7 for Arthas. But he did decide to go Frozen Wastes, which is unusual to see with the Eternal Hunger. You usually see the root and then the slow. But to be fair, against the Zeratul, you really need that extra slow as well as the lingering slow. That's really your only way to peel the Zeratul. Both camps should be coming up in just a moment. But very quickly, checking... Yeah, nothing crazy on either team. And we do see the Immortal Coil for the Arthas as opposed to the armor. This will still increase his survivability, that will more increase his trade ability. And we do see top camp picked up by the side of better than bots. I'm guessing this camp will also be cleared up for free as the camps have been so far, as both teams seem to be positioning for these bottom camps. At least Zeratul is. Yeah, there we go. Both these camps being picked up. I don't know. I feel like I missed something, but my chat seems to be talking about Russians. I'm confused. There's no context for the random Russians question mark, but okay. Better than bots is slow on this camp, which does cause a bit of issues. Meanwhile, a lot of damage goes out on that Lunar. This does mean the Zeratul can just go in whenever he feels like, and that's probably a 50-0 Lunar position. But the Vala is also in a very rough position as she's just losing a lot of health, and there's the Zeratul kill on the Lunar, as I was talking about a minute ago. The Orc does attempt to get out of the fight, Arthas trying to stick to him, but unable to due to the Train Hope. And Arthas successfully zoning out the poking, except for the Zeratul, which is unable to poke, but does get the interrupt without dealing any damage. Arthas does go down, meaning that this is now a fair, if not favorable fight for Team Rainbow Strike Go, allowing them to even out these core healths. Now, for those of you who are new to this map is unique in many regards, one of which being the cores are eternally invulnerable. The only way to deal core damage on this map is through winning objectives. Now, you can increase this by capturing these forts, which will eventually turn into keeps. And you can also use the minions to get core damage. Did I say something about Russians? I didn't think I said anything about Russians, but okay. Li Ming does drop very quickly from the Zeratul. The pull does go out onto Zeratul, unable to save him from the giant laser beam. Lots of damage coming out on the Arthas. He does not have minions to keep him alive, but he does have his army, as they now have lost their 10 advantage. But they do have hero uptime advantage. Lots of aggression coming out on this mid fort. Now, this is really the only fort, in my opinion, you shouldn't go for, usually. Unless you are here and you have an advantage, which they do have. Either way, they do get this front wall, meaning that there is no place for them to retreat. And the double altar phase is announced coming up in 20 seconds. Speaking of front walls, this bottom front wall as well as this top front wall are either gone or dead. Thank you, Aeromarab, for reminding me. You can actually take all of the altars and ignore all of the objectives and deal damage by bombarding the enemy periodically. But that's a far less viable way of winning. It's really only useful against bad enemies. However, we do see a massive fight coming out here. Everyone losing loads of health. Blessed Shield coming out to try and save herself and successfully doing so. Zeratul just trying to run, getting saved by the Anduin. Arthas does pop his army of the dead, his army of friends, while they are trying to capture this bottom one, and they do get the invade, meaning that this is now 32-24 in favor of better than bots. Big Entomb does go out, leading to the Lunara going down, but with the Resurrects, that shouldn't mean much, except for the fact that Sonya is now down, and Arthas is dropping very quickly without any mana to keep himself alive, and he drops as well. With that triple kill, there is not enough reses on the planet to bring back the entire team. Or rather, there are, but the death timers are too short for it to be taken advantage of. Now, we do see Leap again for the Sonya, as well as Invade here, which is a very smart move, except for the fact that it leads to the Zeratul death as he gets a little aggressive here. The Entomb does go out trying to secure the point, but unable to, as he managed to entomb, well, or rather, as the enemy team does have someone who can teleport. With the unsuccessful invade and the fall of the Zeratul, does look like we see better than bots going for this boss. Meanwhile, Team Rainbow Strike Go says you are not getting an extra shot on this altar phase. His tower is ours. Not a lot of health used on that boss, however that is another 4 shots, meaning that this is now 20 health for Team Rainbow Strike Go. And another camp not getting any value. There's still plenty of opportunities to come back, especially considering Zeratul at 20 is one of the most scary 20 heroes you can find, and so is Leoric with that buried alive. That is something you really need to worry about. Speaking of worry about, Lunara does go down, but is resurrected immediately, meaning all of Zeratul's health and resources were basically just wasted, but not the resources used on the Sonya, as she does go down. The stun does try and keep Arthas from healing himself, but is unable to, as he's going to use his army of friends to stay alive. The same cannot be said for the Skeleton King. Meanwhile, Johanna is pulled out of the fight. Arthas still very low, barely able to stay alive. Still positioning very aggressively on the side of Rainbow Strike Go. Lots of damage coming out. This is still anyone's fight, except for the fact that this is a 5v4 in just a moment. In favor of Rainbow Strike Go, because Leoric can just come up in the middle of the team fight. The Entomb does go down, unable to catch anyone as he was displaced right before. He does try and disrupt the enemy team with, I'm assuming, the damage mitigation. Lots of damage does come out on both sides, leading to the Li Ming drop. Res is in 10 seconds, so unable to rebalance this fight. With the enemy team fully online, this game has completely changed for better than bots. Meanwhile, Rainbow Strike Go is going to pick up their camp. A lot of aggression just to prevent the invade. Now that I think about it, they might have been setting up for an invade of their own. And I was right. Not going to be in time, but they were still setting up for it. The tunnel is now online, meaning that it is easier to get from spawn to mid, but only mid. Entomb does go out, barely locking down the Arthas. Arthas is stunned, using his army of friends to stay alive. Li Ming falling to half health in the rotation by the Zeratul, who is more than happy to just wander around at full health. We do see this camp trying to get value, but it does look like Better Than Bots is barely going to clean it up. Arthas does fall. I was very concerned that he was not going to fall, but he is just going to get rezzed. The leap does go out, unable to really lock down anyone. Sonya out of position, losing a lot of health. Big stun onto the Leo, who is using his Drain Hope to stay alive, but that's not going to last forever, but it is going to last long enough as he uses the Wraith Walk to dodge Li Ming's damage. Meaning that really no one fell here. But considering this was a 5v4, with Lunar pushing top, This was a favorable fight for Better Than Bots. And it does look like they are going to secure a tower before the objective. Li Ming is going to drop very quickly. Zeratul using his teleports very aggressively to try and get the kill, but is unable to as he is locked down by the Arthas. One of the hardest heroes to escape. Speaking of Arthas, though, he is losing a lot of health using his little undead friends to try and stay alive. But with all those stuns coming out, it's going to be very difficult for him to. I think this was a triple channel in favor of Better Than Bots. I missed who got the bottom one, but it was a triple altar phase. It does look like they got one. It does look like Rainbow Strike Go did get one of the altars. But still two in favor of Better Than Bots. This is a really difficult position if you're Team Rainbow Strike Go. You're running out of opportunities to give up altars. You need to start winning fights and start winning hard. Another F for Sonya. All the Fs for Sonya. They do trade bell towers, though, with bot bell tower being picked up in exchange for Team Rainbow Strike Go's top bell tower, and this invade will secure the minions as well as potentially core attacks. But that's very unlikely, but that laughter does mean the boss is back up, and with all of this pressure to deal with, all this core damage to deal with, we might see a boss play coming up very soon. However, losing this bottom bell tower does mean that the core damage I was talking about earlier cannot come up. So, Better Than Bots just decides to trade bell towers yet again, meaning that even more of an uncomfortable position for Rainbow Strike Go, as even if they get this objective, it's only going to be worth 3. They do decide to try and trade for this mid, with the Leo attempting to escape the enemy team using the Wraith Walk, but is unable to, losing a lot of health, and he does fall, meaning Li Ming's abilities are all up. But the bell tower is taken by Team Rainbow Strike Go. Crater does come out, as well as a light bomb, leading to a double kill on the Vala and the Anduin, and Johanna falls very quickly. Zeratul just saying, I'm out. But this is still only 4 strikes, as opposed to the 5 that they would have originally got. But now the bot bell towers are inverted. An easy fix for either team. That's right, we do see this as an orb build Li Ming. Now, is this Archon or the... No, that's the Temporal Flux. It does look like we are going to enter the home stretch of the game on the side of Better Than Bots, because they are going to take this boss, which means it doesn't take much for them to end this game any longer. This is a single altar phase coming up, but if they have to, they can give it. Especially if they're going to grab this mid fort, which does mean only 2 shots will come at them, whereas 5 will come at the enemy, meaning this is a lot more valuable for one team than the other, except for the fact that this might be game for Team Rainbow Strike Go if they give it up. However, there is another win condition, as it looks like Better Than Bots is saying, you go ahead and set up for the objective, you go ahead and grab that bot camp, we are going to push in these 3 mercenaries. This is an uncomfortable position if you are on the side of Team Rainbow Strike Go. You know everyone's up here, but even still, you need to grab that altar, but you also need to stop these mercenaries. With a Johanna, it shouldn't be as hard, but it's still not going to be easy. Light Bomb does go out, getting the triple stun as well as the mercenary clear. Johanna using her Iron Skin to stay alive, but she does fall, meaning Li Ming does get her resets, but the win condition is no longer available in the top lane. It is only in this duel down here, which, speaking of, Leo is losing a lot of health, meaning that this is game for Better Than Bots. GG. Not pushing in the 6 mercs? Yeah, I was wondering why none of the mercenaries were really getting pushed in that game. I think they were just trying to get the soak more, as well as the macro pressure. So I'm wishing both teams GG's very quickly. But we will very quickly hop over here and see if I can grab an interview. Yeah, GG's indeed. It was a very nice game. It's really difficult to play Towers of Doom if you aren't very experienced on it, and it did look like they were having a bit of issues with that. But it looks like our poll was right, which generally is uncommon. Like an interview. So I'm gonna grab the interview very quickly. This was a solid series of 3, though. Both teams played very well. Better than bots, just played a little bit better. Alright. It looks like they are sending Grizzly Pear for the interview, which I will be happy to interview. We just gotta wait for him to show up. If you guys have any questions for the interview, go ahead and post them in the chat. I will have plenty of time to read them beforehand. Doesn't look like he's ready, unfortunately. I've got a number of questions. That was really solid. They really seemed to fear the Phoenix, which I'm kind of curious about. I'm guessing that was a target ban, but I'm not sure. I'm not super familiar with either of these teams, which is weird considering I played one of them and I've scouted the other.
Hey,
there we go.
Sorry about
Hello. Okay. So, how you feeling after your victory?
It felt pretty good. It felt somewhat decisive after the second one.
Yeah.
Although of course I give props to the opponents. They played well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of curious what made you guys choose Towers of Doom. That's a pretty commonly banned map, as well as just kind of one that's avoided.
Our team likes to focus on objectives pretty hard, map-based objectives, particularly camps, as you saw. We just love to rush from camp to camp, like in succession.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Towers of Doom worked pretty well for us because we're all coordinated. We've done it before, and we know that objective is absolutely key on that map.
For sure. So I'm kind of curious what you were thinking when you saw the Zeratul pick. That seemed to... like, you already had two pretty squishy people. I'm curious if that changed how you played the game or anything along those lines.
Well, Li Ming is somewhat slippery, although Zeratul does have that follow-up that can be pretty terrifying. I was pretty much counting on my backline and my healer to keep me safe. I went long-range build at 16, so I could safely toss out an orb and I could teleport within
Okay.
the tower's range. And also, I was pretty fortunate to have at least one other member of my team hugging me the entire time.
That's very fair. That's very, very fair.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. Li Ming's not normally someone who I see on. I don't remember what. Cursed Hollow. You guys did play Li Ming on Cursed. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was me.
I'm kind of curious. Is that just a comfort pick, or was there something very specific that you saw that you wanted the Ming for?
It was both, actually. A lot of people don't know this, but there's not a lot of barriers that can interrupt an orb on Cursed Hollow when you send it out to kill or to interrupt the channeler.
Okay.
So it works pretty well for a poke, especially since you got that teleport.
Very
So,
true.
you know, you're behind a safe wall, your orb can make it through and hit whoever's channeling. And unless they're somewhat grouped and they have a dedicated guy body blocking the orb, it's pretty easy to keep them channeling until your teammates can catch up.
Okay. Well, that covers pretty much all the questions I had for you. Are there any shoutouts that you'd like to say on the record?
Well, I thought you did a pretty good job casting. I've checked out your channel. It looks pretty good. You got a very enthusiastic fan base.
Thank you very much.
Of course, I'd like to shout out to my team. Everyone played their best, and I play with those guys a lot. They're really well coordinated, and they're really funny and cool people to hang out with. So glad to be doing this.
Very fair. Well, thank you for the amazing games.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for the casting.
You're very welcome. See you around.
Cheers.
So that wraps up my cast for today. It didn't look like you guys had any questions. If you did, unfortunately, the 40-second delay made it so that I wasn't able to ask them. But it's been a pleasure casting for you all once again. Just for the sake of fun, I'm going to quickly update Better Than Bots' score on my screen so you can kind of see these current standings after today's match. But either way, thank you guys for choosing my cast. Like I said, there's a bunch of casts, so I very, very much appreciate every single vote. Not every single vote, every single viewer that I have in the chat and interacting with me for this cast. Apparently I'm supposed to give Nani 1990 a shout out. So, Nani 1990, you have your shout out. I'll throw away, you missed your chance for to ask their shoe size. But anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.